About 8 months ago, I discovered this book, and in this video, I'm going to give you an honest book review. What is the plant paradox diet? What the heck are lectins? Does having a lectin-free diet benefit you? What are the benefits? And should you follow a lectin-free diet? All coming next. Hi, I'm Giselle Loaiza, and in this channel, I talk all about lectin-free diet. How did I transition to a lectin-free diet? I'll be sharing recipes with you, educational videos like this one right here, and lifestyle videos. Let's get started, shall we? So how did I discover this book right here? So about 8 months ago, I was searching on YouTube for some topics to listen on one of my favorite podcasts, the Lewis House podcast, The School of Greatness. And I noticed this video that said the foods that are killing you, and I was like, wow, it totally caught my attention. And that's how I discovered Dr. Gundry. I started listening to his interview, and I immediately, right after the interview, went ahead and bought this book and started reading it. So who is Dr. Gundry? Dr. Gundry is an ex-cardiologist, and he shares his story in that interview, which I'll be linking in the description below so you can watch as well. He basically started sharing that he used to operate on thousands of people every single year on open heart surgeries. And he noticed that some of the most common reasons why people were going to get heart surgery was because of the foods they were eating, their diets. He realized that he loved what he was doing. He was helping people. You know, like operating on them and saving their lives. But he realized that he wasn't preventing this from happening, and that's what got him curious. And he decided to leave that career and to start studying and opening up a clinic and start treating patients for preventative medicine. So why were people getting so much heart disease? That's what became his passion, and that's how Dr. Gundry started experiment with the plant paradox diet by treating his patients and seeing results. That's where he came from. Tell his passion for actually helping people more from the inside before they get the heart attacks, right? And now Dr. Gundry owns 2 clinics, and he treats patients with the plant paradox diet. He puts them on the diet in order to cure different diseases like autoimmune diseases, like diabetes, like leaky gut syndrome, and many more. So many of you probably have heard of gluten, right? Gluten-free, gluten-free, gluten-free. I believe most of us now have heard of it. It is mainstream. There's a lot of gluten-free products out there in the market. Now, something you may not know, gluten is one of the many lectins found in food. So basically, lectins are a plant-based protein that are found in many fruits and vegetables that we commonly eat. Even the healthy foods that you think are healthy are full of lectins, and that's what Dr. Gundry explains in this book, The Plant Paradox. Some of these lectins are found in wheat products. So many of your grains, like your quinoas, like your rices, a lot of those have lectins. They're also found in many fruits, many vegetables, beans, lentils, and even some dairy products. They're everywhere. What I love about the book, guys, is that Dr. Gundry does a great job in educating you on what lectins are from a scientific perspective, from way back when in the past, like how did plants and vegetables and fruits even develop lectins through a defense mechanism. And he also showcases real life case studies from some of his patients, from how they went from eating a diet full of lectins to going lectin free and actually becoming a healthy and even curing some of their diseases. He goes into extreme detail, but lectins are basically plant-based proteins that the plants have developed in order to defend themselves. Just like how animals have different ways of defending themselves from their predators, plants and vegetables also develop these, and usually they're found in the skins and in the seeds. And when we consume that, our bodies react to those lectins, and usually in a very toxic way. And it shows up as inflammation, it shows up as autoimmune disease, and it shows up as diabetes, as cancer, many different diseases, not to mention feeling bad about it, feeling like your stomach is blowing up and it's bloated and making you feel awful. It wreaks havoc in your body. Causes leaky gut syndrome as well. So I'd say, like, if you can stay patient and not get bored by all the scientific research and going back, way back when plants started developing these defense mechanisms, and reading all about that before you get into the actual recipes and how you can implement the lectin-free diet, I'd highly recommend you read through all of it so that you have a good understanding. And after you read all of that in this book, trust me, you will know all about lectins and have a very deep understanding, and it'll motivate you to actually follow through on the diet, because you'll know the reason why Dr. Gundry is so adamant about going lectin free. Once he goes through all of that in the book, he actually starts going in through what, like, the yes food list and the no food list. And I have it printed out here. I keep this in front of on my refrigerator so I can refer to it. So basically, there's a list of foods that contain lectins, and there's a list of foods that do not contain lectins. And luckily for us, the yes list is bigger than the no list. And just to give you a quick example, some of the healthy foods you're probably eating right now that you think are super healthy, they're actually full of lectins. Now, the good news is this. Dr. Gundry does share in the books some of the foods that have lectins you're able to eat, but it depends on how you prepare and how you cook them. And I'll go into that in more detail in a little bit. So, for example, if you're eating any pasta, if you're eating any rice, lectins. If you're eating any tomatoes, lectins. If you're eating any cucumbers, any tofu, any edamame, any lentils and beans, they all have lectins. Yes, I am sad as well. Any of your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds, your chia seeds, guys. I used to put chia seeds on everything before. Your zucchinis, your pumpkins, your squashes, your eggplants. I used to love eggplants. Your bell peppers, your chili peppers, and of course the whole grains. All of the whole grains, corn, they all have lectins. Your oats, your quinoa, your brown rice. Can you believe brown rice is actually worse than white rice according to Dr. Gundry? Your popcorn, your wheatgrass, and your barley grass. Some of the oils you should avoid according to Dr. Gundry. Your grapeseed oil, your peanut oil, your cottonseed oil, your sunflower oil, and of course any partially hydrogenated oils. Now, that's the no list. And let me share with you some of the cool things you can eat off the yes list. So, coconut oil, which I love. Your olive oil, my favorite oil. Macadamia nuts, walnuts, pistachio, any olives, dark chocolate, guys. I eat a little bar of chocolate every single day. It has to be dark chocolate. Your vinegars, we've got goat butter, goat cheese, any coconut yogurt, sheep cheese, avocados you can eat, any berries. You can eat your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, your cauliflowers, your cabbages, your arugula, your kale, celery, onions, carrots, beets, artichokes, radishes, your asparagus, garlic, your romaine lettuce, your spinach, parsley, basil, mint, mushrooms. As you can see, there's many choices to choose from. And also, the Plant Paradox diet, the lectin-free diet, is not necessarily vegan, it's not vegetarian. He actually recommends eating meats. However, he recommends meats that are grass-fed, chickens that are grass-fed, cows that are grass-fed. He recommends avoiding anything that has hormones, that's processed. The cool thing is super easy to adjust if you're vegan or vegetarian. I personally am vegetarian, so everything that I make that is lectin free is 100% vegetarian. So it's completely easy to adjust. He separates the actual lectin free diet in 3 phases. You have your cleanse, you have your phase 1, and you have your phase 2. So he highly recommends in the book to do a 3-day cleanse before you get started on a lectin free diet. It's completely optional, but it's highly recommended. I personally did the 3-day cleanse, and I'd say it's not so easy if you've never done a cleanse before. It's not a fun experience. It wasn't a fun experience for me. However, it's a good starting point for you to implement the lectin-free diet. Then you got phase 1, where you start eating from your yes list, and then you start following some of the recipes he recommends. He actually has full recipes that go with phase 1, and then you have phase 2. Phase 2 is when you start reintroducing more foods into your lectin-free diet, including some foods that have lectins. For example, I'm already eating lentils, I'm already eating beans. Now, the way I prepare them now is way different than how I used to prepare them in the past. So now what I do use is a pressure cooker. So when you cook lentils and beans in a pressure cooker, it's gonna kill off all the lectins. However, you do have to soak your beans and your lentils for a day or 2 before you cook them in the pressure cooker. That's what you learn in the Plant Paradox book. And again, I'd say for me personally, it was a very easy transition. I was already a very healthy eater. I turned into a vegetarian about 5 years ago. I started eating healthier, started eating cleaner. However, now, thanks to the Plant Paradox book, I'd say that I've adopted not only a lectin-free diet, but a more wholesome diet in general. I eat more vegetables than ever. I eat more fresh salads than ever. And I avoid more processed foods now because I know that if it's on my no list, I'm not gonna reach for it, right? And I'm having a lot of fun because I'm discovering a lot of new vegetables, a lot of new fruits. Like I used to eat a lot of Greek yogurt. That's part of the no list. Now, I was very sad when I discovered I couldn't eat any Greek yogurt anymore. But now I love my sheep yogurt. I love my goat yogurt. I love it. It tastes super good. It's something that I wouldn't have tried before if it wasn't for this book. And knowing that because that was my option under the yes list, it's lectin free, then that's the reason I tried it. And I discovered that I love sheep yogurt and goat cheese. Something that he discusses in the book that I definitely want to mention is your gut health. This is something I was not aware until reading this book. So we have our friendly bacteria in our guts. Some people call it your second brain. It's super, super, super important to your overall health. How you take care of, how Dr. Gundry calls them, your gut buddies. The reason why we want to avoid lectins, whether you're sensitive to lectins or not, why you should consider switching to a lectin-free diet is because a lot of the foods that don't have the lectins is actually good food for your gut buddies. Basically, these bacteria are living in your body. Your body is their home. They're taking care of you and you're taking care of them. And the better food you feed them, the better they're gonna take care of your body. If you feed them a lot of processed foods, if you feed them a lot of lectins wreak havoc on your gut buddies. That's one of the main things Dr. Gundry discusses in the book, which is very, very extensive, and it's a fascinating read in my opinion. Another thing he goes over is why Dr. Gundry recommends increasing your fat intake as part of your lectin-free diet. Now, he doesn't recommend all kinds of fat. He recommends specific ones. For example, grass-fed butter, specifically from European cows. There's a thing that European cows don't have this kind of hormone that other cows have, like American cows. There's a lot of little details that he talks about in the book. He recommends olive oil a lot. Why? Because olive oil is a preventative to Alzheimer's disease, according to Dr. Gundry. He says that if you're consuming the right kinds of fats in your diet, including avocados, he says he has 1 avocado a day. Increasing your fats is not gonna make you gain weight. Last but not least, in the book, he shares many recipes. Again, I have found it to be super easy to transition into a lectin-free diet. And I'll be sharing some of those recipes that I'm preparing at my home with you guys as well to show you how I do it, how I adjust it, etc. They're very fun to prepare. They're super tasty. They're some of the tastiest recipes I've ever had. You're not missing out on anything, I swear to you. You're not missing out on taste. You're not missing out on variety by switching to a lectin-free diet. I'd say that you just have to make sure you read the book, all of it, start implementing into your diet, and join some of the support groups that are out there on Facebook. I'm a member of about 2 or 3 Facebook groups, and the cool thing is like there's thousands of people in these Facebook groups. If you have any questions about anything in the book, you post it on there. People are responding, people are commenting, they're sharing their experience. It's very encouraging as well to see people that were suffering from high blood pressure, from diabetes, and how they've been able to decrease some of their symptoms thanks to switching to a lectin-free diet. If you're interested, I'd say give it a try. Order the book. I'll link it below as well. Go through it, read it. If you don't like it, you can always return it. Go back to your old diet. Out of all the diets out there, I'd say this is the least restrictive diet, the most healthiest diet I've ever tried, and the most variety of foods that I can try and not limit myself. So I'm very happy that I switched to Plant Paradox diet and adopted a lectin-free diet. Well guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope this video made a difference for you. If you have any questions, please let me know below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you about my experience. And make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified of when I post my next video. And I'll be sharing a recipe video after this video. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.